Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Valeria Ochoa. I'm a community educator for Southern Caregiver Resource Center. And today you are in for a treat because I will be talking about the services that we offer within our community. So feel free to take out a notebook, a pencil, a pen, and jot down some notes because these services are specifically for family caregivers. So whether you identify as a caregiver, you've been a caregiver, you're going to be a caregiver, or you know anyone who is taking on this caregiving role, feel free to, again, take notes and connect anyone who may benefit from this presentation and from the services that we have to offer at SCRC. At Southern Caregiver Resource Center, we know that the caregiving journey can be extremely stressful sometimes and overwhelming. And the majority of us who are caregivers may be on the verge of caregiver burnout, but it doesn't have to be that way. So at Southern Caregiver Resource Center, we are here to care for those who care for others. We're here to care for our family caregivers. Next slide, please. So I want to kick off this presentation with a little bit of a background. Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Next slide, please. Southern Caregiver Resource Center, fun fact, was actually established in 1987, and almost 33 plus years later, we become the leading nonprofit organization within the San Diego County that provides free supportive services to family caregivers. So that is anywhere as far as Oceanside, Carlsbad, Vista. We go all the way as far as closer to the borderline area, San Isidro, Otay Mesa, and we also serve caregivers that reside within the Imperial Valley area, Imperial County. So if you know anyone who resides, again, within these boundaries, they can utilize our services. If you, on the other side of the screen, if you're thinking, oh, I'm located in Oceanside, then hey, you can utilize the services that I'm about to talk about in this presentation. And the best part is that all of these are 100% free. Next, please. I'd like to say and always mention that we do form part of a larger collaborative effort, and this collaborative effort we're called all together the Caregiver Resource Centers, or CRCs for short. Within the state of California, we form 11 Caregiver Resource Centers. So what that means is that if you know anyone or you yourself, you reside within the state of California, you can utilize our services. Now, we are the only state in the United States that offers free supportive services to family caregivers. So feel free to check out our website at www.caregivercalifornia.org. Type in your zip code and check out what Caregiver Resource Center is located within your area and the kind of services that they offer, because they may vary based on the location that they are in. So again, we are the Caregiver Resource Centers, and that's the collaborative effort that we form a part of. Next slide, please. Now, the number one question that I get next is, how do I qualify for your services? How do I know if I qualify for your services? Or if you're a professional who's watching me today, a service provider like myself, how do you know if your clients qualify for these services at Southern Caregiver Resource Center? Well, my answer to you is that if you're a caregiver or you know a caregiver who's taking care of a frail older adult that is 60 years or older and has a difficult time completing activities of daily living, like bathing, driving, cooking, going to the grocery store, simply getting up and going for a walk. If you are caring for a frail older adult who has a difficult time completing 2 or more of these things, then you qualify for our services. Now, on the other hand, if you're caring for maybe an adult child who is 18 years or older, who may be suffering from a cognitive impairment, they have a difficult time concentrating, taking new information, maybe they have traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, or maybe they're showing signs of early onset or late onset dementia, then you qualify for our services as well at Southern Caregiver Resource Center. We know, again, that the caregiving role and the caregiving journey can be very difficult, but all we ask is that, again, you are willing to accept some help and you contact us, and hey, you can access our resources at Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Next, please. So after you've contacted us, and I will be providing all of our contact information at the end of this presentation, you will be connected with a family consultant. Now, those of you who have heard me speak before, and I'll say it again today, the family consultant is essentially the best friend to our caregivers. The family consultant is a master's level clinician that he or she has been a caregiver themselves, or they know exactly what their caregiving journey is like. So this individual will assess our caregivers, assess you, and create a very special and individualized plan. And this plan can include all of our services, maybe just a couple services, but most importantly, this plan is to help you as a caregiver as you navigate your role throughout your entire journey as a caregiver. The family consultant may include some of these services that I'm about to talk about, and one of these services includes, next slide, please, our support groups. Our support groups, most of us know what support groups are, but these support groups are offered to all of our clients, of course, and they're offered in both English and Spanish. We have a very flexible schedule in which you can find a time to, again, get together and meet with someone virtually. Our support groups are very special at Southern Caregiver Resource Center because they are facilitated at all times by a master's level clinician, again, an individual and a professional who knows exactly what to do if a difficult situation arises, if they need to step up and, consolidate someone, or step up and just continue to guide the conversation amongst all of the participants. During these support groups, they're highly utilized at Southern Caregiver Resource Center because during this time they get to socialize and connect with other caregivers that may be going through similar situations, that may be going through similar struggles and challenges. And it's just a great environment to also share your successes as a caregiver. I'd like to mention that these support groups, again, are offered in English and Spanish, and right now they're being offered virtual because we do serve and help a population that maybe is immunocompromised. So we really, really protect our clients, protect our caregivers and their loved ones, as well as all of our teammates. Next slide, please. Now, I have come across individuals, of course, and it's completely understandable, that may not necessarily want to utilize our support groups, whether it may be because they are already attending support groups somewhere else, or it's because they simply just want to talk with a professional in a one-on-one session. So our counseling services are made available to, again, our clients. And during this time, our caregivers will be provided with much needed emotional support. They will obtain skills to develop, again, their caregiving role to help them cope with their caregiving experiences and some of these challenges that they may be facing and dealing with. Some not necessarily obstacles, but learning experiences, because we know that everything is a learning experience. And our counselor will most importantly help our caregivers, again, navigate their caregiving role and their caregiving journey. These counseling sessions can be provided in both English and Spanish. So if you know anyone who just needs to speak with someone, who needs some advice, who needs some of these tips, skill development, connect them with us because we are here to help, and we're here to help our family and caregivers. It's time for caregivers to start taking care of themselves. Next slide, please. Our legal and financial consultations is one of my favorite services, and it's because when the pandemic began, a lot of our caregivers were very stressed. I mean, they were already stressed to begin with, but when the pandemic began, filling out healthcare directive documents, medical documents, power of attorney, paperwork, all of that was very overwhelming because everything shifted from in-person to virtual. So our legal and financial consultations, our services, have really helped our caregivers because we offer a free 1-hour consultation with attorneys and lawyers that help our caregivers fill out these documents and that answer all of the questions that they may have. Because if you are stepping on into the caregiving journey for the first time, filling out these documents in general, dealing with any legal and financial situations, it can be very overwhelming, especially if you are doing it on your own. Our legal and financial consultations, again, are offered to our clients for 100% free. There's no charge. So feel free to connect with us if you have, for example, any document to fill out or have a legal situation that you need assistance with. So feel free to connect with us. Next slide. Our education and training department is one of my top favorite department, and that's makes me a little biased because that's a department I'm here representing today. Specifically in our education and training services, myself alongside with my teammates, individuals who go out into the community like promotoras, they really try to raise awareness on what the caregiving role is like, what caregiving topics are included within, again, the caregiving role. And we really try to empower our community, all those individuals within the San Diego County, and hopefully in the future beyond, on what the caregiving journey is like and what caregivers need assistance with. Our education and training also provides behavioral management strategies to all of our clients. We focus on really highlighting self-care within our caregivers, because let's face it, caregivers do not focus on self-care. And I'm speaking from experience. We forget to take care of ourselves, but it's always important to, understand and accept some help and realize that in order for us to provide adequate care and care for our loved one, we need to focus on self-care and care for the caregiver. So our education and training department and our services really highlights this. I will be providing a little bit more information about this and what we do and the kind of services within the specific department that we offer towards the end of the presentation. So feel free to stick around so you can learn more about the kind of services that are within this specific department. Next, please. Our respite service is a very special service that we offer at Southern Caregiver Resource Center, because we are able to provide our clients, our caregivers, a much needed break from their caregiving responsibilities. So that means that they get to step away for a period of time to focus on self-care, to focus on whatever it may be that they've been wanting to do for a while, but they haven't because sometimes time doesn't permit it and the situation isn't always adequate. So our respite service is offered to our clients to relieve them from their caregiving responsibilities. So if you, on the other side of the screen, whoever is watching me today, if you've come to realize that, hey, you need a break and you need to go to the doctor's appointment, but you have no one to watch out for your loved one who may have dementia or who may have a cognitive impairment, then we can get you squared away, connect with us, and we can assess your situation and have your loved one taken care of at your home, of course, taking the CDC and health recommendations to heart, or we can send your loved one to a facility where they can be watched and taken care of there. And get this, it's 100% free. There is no catch. We're really here to help and support our caregivers to get that much needed and long overdue break for some of our caregivers. This is our respite service. So if you need a break, feel free to contact us, connect with us, and we will again give you the help that you need and the much needed break that you need. Next, please. Our Reach to Caregivers program, or in Spanish, Calma. This program is also very special because it's a program that we've been very fortunate to be supported by and through the San Diego County. It's an evidence-based model that is offered to our family caregivers, specifically who are taking care of a loved one with a form of dementia like Alzheimer's disease. This program is a 4-week class program in which our caregivers will obtain some tips on how to understand their loved one's diagnosis, but not only that, how to focus on stress management techniques, how to focus on self-care, what to do if their loved one becomes agitated and they're constantly feeling stressed, how to reduce stress. So these classes are offered to all of our caregivers and our clients, and again, individuals within the San Diego County. And right now we are still offering these classes virtually in both English and Spanish. So if you feel like sometimes you don't have enough time, you can't find an adequate moment to join a class or learn or do any extra curriculars or anything extra on top of your caregiving role, we do have a very, very flexible schedule. So feel free to again connect with us. We'll assess your situation. If you want to join our Reach to Caregivers program, our classes, and take these classes, we will get you again connected with a professional, a family consultant that can assess your situation and get you connected with a promotora or someone a promotora that can sign you up to the class, and you can learn about your loved one's diagnosis, and most importantly, learn self-care, stress management tips, and just obtain a much needed support as a caregiver, especially if you're stepping onto this role for the first time. This is our Reach to Caregivers program, or Calma in Spanish. Next, please. These are all of the services that we offer at Southern Caregiver Resource Center, but it doesn't stop here. Hopefully, I'd like to say that in the future, we'll have many, many more services, but hey, I'd like to reiterate that these services are 100% free and available for you if you are a caregiver. If you know anyone who's taking care, again, of a loved one who has dementia, who's taking care of a loved one that has a cognitive impairment, they can utilize these services. They can get a much needed break and utilize our respite services, our support group services as well, if they just need a time, an hour of their day to socialize and get to talk to other individuals who are going through the same situation as they are. Feel free to check out our website at www.caregivercenter.org. Connect with us, give us a call, and again, we will get you squared away and develop that action plan that you need as a caregiver to help yourself and help your loved one as well. Next, please. Now, I do want to take a few minutes to talk about our iCare portal. Again, check out our website at www.caregivercenter.org. This is essentially what we call our iCare portal. On here is where we dive in a little bit more into the education and training services that we offer at Southern Caregiver Resource Center. Our Caregiver Corner is essentially where you will find this presentation and many other presentations that we've recorded in the past, in person and in virtual as well. You can find these in both English and Spanish, and you can tune in on different caregiving topics like, again, what are our services at Southern Caregiver Resource Center, what to do if there's an emergency in your home, and if there's an earthquake during emergency preparedness. We dive into topics like meal planning for your loved one who may have dementia, what to do if your loved one is you're a spouse for a veteran and this individual has post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury. All of these topics fall within the caregiving world, which is why they are in our caregiver corner, and you can find these videos on there. And also, I always state that I know that we are very busy as caregivers, and sometimes, or the majority of the time, it's very difficult to find some time for yourself, to just find some me time, to find just in general a minute to take a breather. So if you don't necessarily feel like you have the time to watch any of these classes that have been pre-recorded, or any of these presentations that can inform you more on the caregiving world, then maybe you may have 1 minute of your time to talk about those specific topics, but in 60 seconds, we will highlight all of these key points and important aspects of those presentations in a 60-minute tip videos. So we have our 1-hour presentation videos, and we also have our 1-minute tip videos on our caregiving corner. So you as a caregiver can inform yourself a little more and learn about different caregiving topics, or simply spread the word and share this with your family members, friends, colleagues, and connections. Our podcast is essentially where we have a podcast. We sit down and have a conversation with caregivers, have a conversation with professionals that understand the caregiving world. And you can find these podcasts that have been pre-recorded in our series, really, on essentially every single social media platform like Spotify and other podcast platforms. During this time, you can tune in and listen to us have a conversation again with a caregiver, and most importantly, again, learn about a different caregiving topic. Our Family caregiver classes are available again in both English and Spanish. And as far as our digital newsletters, you can find those on our website as well, www.caregivercenter.org. And you can tune in and discover what is going on within our community, what's going on at Southern Caregiver Resource Center, and stay up to date with the latest news and what workshops and events we're having at Southern Caregiver Resource Center. So feel free to go on our website, subscribe, and you'll get our digital newsletters every single week and stay up to date and informed on what is going on in SCRC, at SCRC. Next slide, please. Feel free to follow us on our social media platforms, our social media network. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube, those are all up to date, and we're currently up and running in all of those. Facebook and YouTube is where we stream all of our live stream classes, and you can always follow us on Instagram and connect with us on Twitter. That is where we post, again, our latest events, our news. We post tips. Tips for our caregivers on Instagram, beautiful graphics on there to help you stay motivated as a caregiver and help you stay informed. So feel free to follow us on all of these social media platforms to stay connected with us and again, stay up to date with the latest news. Next, please. This right here is our contact information. Feel free to call us at 800-827-1008 and you will be connected with a representative that will, again, assess your situation and get you connected with any of these services that I just talked about. Before I end, I do want to say that, again, if you know a caregiver or you yourself are a caregiver, I'd like to mention that at Southern Caregiver Resource Center, we don't require any proof of income. We don't require any proof of citizenship status or employment status either. Simply put, if you're a caregiver, you can connect with us and get the resources that you need to utilize and just take advantage of all of these resources. And again, if you know anyone who resides outside the San Diego County boundaries and they live within the state of California, they can still receive the help that they need. So feel free to connect with us. Thank you so much for everyone who joined me today. Again, my name is Valeria Ochoa, representing Southern Caregiver Resource Center, and I just spoke to you about our services at Southern Caregiver Resource Center. If you do have a few more questions, if you have any comments, feel free to connect with us at our contact information that you see on the screen, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day.